The presentation that I'd like to talk about is Leadership, the 11th Knowledge Area, essentially focusing on project management. In the 5th edition of the Project Management Body of Knowledge, we have 10 knowledge areas that have been identified for us. And on an ongoing basis, leadership still is something that is referenced, but because of its level of art, its inability to necessarily measure how effective leadership is, we still haven't gotten our PMBOK to really provide hardcore leadership advice, methodology, support. So I did recently put out a book on program management leadership, and the focus of the book is how do we create high-performing teams through the leadership aspects. And the focus of today's presentation is creating high-performing teams through project management leadership. So just to get us on the same page, what is leadership? Well, back in 1978, Burns was doing a presidential paper on what leadership was, and he was trying to research leadership across the board. Burns found that there was over 150 different definitions of leadership, but they all show that leadership is a positive contributor. Any definition that we see of leadership is always pointed towards the positive. Anytime we see something that is more negative, it's usually referenced as management. So a couple of quick quotes in here. Dwight Eisenhower, leadership is the art of getting someone to do something you want done because they want to do it. It's intentional influence. The ability to establish standards, manage a creative climate, self-motivated individuals, self-driven, able to make decisions, investing of themselves in the overall success of the program. Now, my working definition of leadership is to persuade individuals to temporarily set aside their personal objectives and work towards a common vision. It's not directing people that this is the task that we are going to be doing. It's not managing in that you work for me, so therefore you will do what I tell you. Instead, leadership is more of a persuasion. It is defining the vision, defining what we're trying to accomplish. And as we define that vision, as we motivate staff to jump on board with the creation of that vision, we're getting their empowerment. We're giving them the ability to contribute more and more of themselves. Now, a true leader opens up more communication channels. The communication channels are very positive. People feel very comfortable in coming to the leader and in going to peers. A leader will set an environment where interaction is rewarded, where it's very safe to bring up new ideas, where there is very, very positive conflict resolution, that we're not dealing with a negative or a toxic environment. The environment that a leader creates is one that drives innovation. Why? Because through the positive communications, the positive conflict resolution, people feel more comfortable in offering up suggestions that may not have been offered in a less positive environment. And finally, a leader establishes the roles and responsibilities and ensures that everyone knows what they are responsible of delivering. Not only what they're responsible for delivering, but also how what they are providing is going to contribute to the overall success of the effort. Leadership results in the positive achievement of the initiatives in the pursuit of its goals and objectives. Now, if we back up a little bit and we take a look at the PMBOK knowledge areas, if you've studied the project management body of knowledge, you recognize these 10 knowledge areas: the integration, scope, time, cost, quality, human resources, communication, risk management, procurement, stakeholders. Now, this is a toolbox that PMI provides to project managers, and it outlines the various tools that a project manager can use. On a particular project, there may be no need for procurement, so we may not have any contracts that would have to go on, or we're not purchasing anything externally. So we look at this toolbox and we tailor our approach based on the size, the complexity, the goals of the project, and everything else. Recently, the PMBOK added stakeholder management to the knowledge areas, which I think is a fantastic addition, because managing the stakeholders ensures that we are managing expectations, that we're clearly communicating what we're going to deliver, how we're going to deliver it, what's important to the stakeholders. If there is a problem, we're communicating that out and identifying that early and often. But the one thing that I would point out with the PMBOK knowledge areas is that these are, for general purposes' sake, a series of scientific methods. Time management. How do we manage time? Scope management. How do we define boundaries? Boundaries through which, if the project gets outside of those boundaries, it's no longer part of what the project design was. So we may have to change cost or quality or schedule to account for that. Risk management is really the process of identifying what risks can be faced by the project, what risks, what strategies we can implement to overcome those risks, and then watching those risks, watching for those risks to be realized, and when realized, to employ a strategy. So all of these knowledge areas basically refer to a set of tools that a project manager can follow. Now, in no way, shape, or form can we say that you simply follow the PMBOK knowledge areas and you will achieve success. They are contributing to success. They help us achieve repeatable success. By following these knowledge areas, we're able to more consistently manage projects, to share the metrics of projects, to be able to look at projects and determine whether or not they were successful or they weren't successful. Things like scope management has been a traditional failure point for most projects. When scope goes out of control, then the project runs over budget, behind schedule, or quality is quite often left behind. So managing scope, time, cost, managing these areas, very scientific approach, very useful for a project manager, and necessary to achieve repeatable success. Just along those same lines, the project manager